তদন্তের ব্যাপারে সব ব্যাপারে আমাদের যা কিছু করা উচিত সেই ব্যাপারে তার সাথে আমরা পরামর্শ করছি, আলোচনা করছি এবং এই বিচার প্রক্রিয়া স্বচ্ছভাবে আন্তর্জাতিকভাবে যাতে কোনো রকম প্রশ্নের সম্মুখীন না হয় সেই ব্যাপারে আমরা তার সাহায্য গ্রহণ করছি। একইভাবে আপনারা জানেন যে আমাদের আইনে আমরা সেটাও করেছি যে ডিফেন্সের পক্ষ থেকেও তারা যদি এই ধরনের কনসালটেন্ট নিয়োগ করতে চান তাদের পক্ষে অ্যাডভাইস গ্রহণ করার জন্য সেটাও তারা করতে পারবেন, কিন্তু তারা কোর্টরুমে লয়ার হিসাবে সরাসরি করতে হলে বার কাউন্সিলের পারমিশন ছাড়া করতে পারবেন না। টবি ক্যাডম্যান আমাদের পক্ষে আছেন, তিনি আমাদের অ্যাডভাইস করছেন। আজকে তিনি এসে আমাদের সাথে ফর্মাল মিটিং করেছেন। তিনি ইচ্ছা প্রকাশ করেছিলেন যে মিডিয়ার সামনে তিনি কথা বলতে চান, সে কারণে আজকে আমরা তাকে নিয়ে এসেছি, তিনি এখন আপনাদের সামনে কথা বলবেন। ইটস এ ট্রান টপিক।
Thank you very much. So, first of all, just let me say it's a privilege and an honour to be assisting the Chief Prosecutor and his team. I have been appointed by the Law Ministry to serve as a special advisor to the prosecution section based on my previous experience in dealing with these matters in a number of different jurisdictions. This is my second visit. I was here a couple of months ago to meet with the Chief Advisor, with the Law Advisor, the Attorney General, and at that time the newly appointed Chief Prosecutor, to advise on some of the areas that I think needed to be addressed. Certainly from my previous experience of the ICT under the previous government was obviously not a good experience, and there were a great deal of criticisms as to how the process was politically manipulated. What was very clear from my discussions with the interim government that this is very much a new chapter, and a chapter aimed towards justice, not retribution and not revenge. For that reason, the ICT Act has gone through some amendments with a view to ensuring that international standards are maintained, the highest standards are maintained, and that any investigation, prosecution and trial will be transparent in accordance with the law and conducted by independent and impartial professionals. Having had meetings the last 2 days, I believe that there are still amendments that need to be made. I think great steps have been taken already. A lot of work needs to be done.
কালার এক্সপার্ট, জর্জ স্যাপ এবং মাইল্ড অন হ্যান্ডস টেকনোলজি সমৃদ্ধ অরিক্স ক্রিস্টাল ওয়াশ আপনার লন্ড্রি এক্সপার্ট।
I've had the opportunity to discuss with the investigators and the prosecutors this morning. I'm hugely impressed with the work that they've done. The work has been done to a very high professional standard, but what I would say is that the people of Bangladesh, and the media in particular, you have to be patient and you have to allow the prosecutors and investigators to do their job properly. These are very complex cases. These are very important cases. It is essential that they are done properly, and it is essential that those that are standing with me today are allowed to do their work without external interference. That being said, this process is going to require the full assistance and support of the international community. I've discussed with the United Nations, I've discussed with the UK, US embassies and with the EU, and there is a great deal of support for this process because it is regarded as being a credible process and a much needed process to re-establish the rule of law in Bangladesh. I think you can all see the progress that has been made so far politically and legally. That process will be continued, and I will do whatever I can to support this office to ensure that these trials meet the highest international standards. But again, you have to be patient because these are complex matters, complex investigations that are going to take a great deal of time. The final point I would make is that we have had discussions with our colleagues at the International Criminal Court as well, based on the prosecutor, Mr. Karim Khan's recent visit to Bangladesh and his meeting with the Chief Advisor. There will be close cooperation with the International Criminal Court, but let me say this, it is essential that these trials are conducted here in this court, in Bangladesh, so that the whole of Bangladesh can see the standards that are being applied and can have faith in their institutions for the first time since 2009. But we will be working closely with the International Criminal Court, we will be working closely with the United Nations and other institutions to ensure that all the necessary support is provided to the prosecutors, to the judges, and to ensure that anyone who faces trial before this court receives a fair trial, a transparent trial, and has all the rights that they are entitled to under the Constitution, under domestic law, and under the international treaties to which Bangladesh is a state party. I'd like to thank you very much for your time. We obviously have a lot more work to do. I don't know if it's appropriate to take questions. I'll leave that to the Chief Prosecutor to decide.
I have two questions. Amendment brought to the law. Is it enough for fair trial to maintain international standards?
I think the amendments that have been made are essential to ensuring fair trials. I believe that there are still some amendments that need to be made, and in consultation with the Chief Prosecutor, we will be presenting our view to the law advisor as to additional amendments, additional essential amendments that are necessary to ensure the fullest fair trial possible.
Okay. There is another question. You are one of the most expert of extradition. I want to know what is the process of bringing back Sheikh Hasina to face fair trial.
Thank you. So I do have some experience as a prosecutor in extradition matters. Obviously, there is an extradition treaty between Bangladesh and India, but we also are aware of what has been stated so far. I don't want to prejudge what India is going to do, but of course it is the role of the Chief Prosecutor and this office to ensure that charges are brought, that an extradition request is made, and obviously if extradition is refused, we will have to then look upon whether she is tried in her absence or whether in fact we look to the International Criminal Court to provide assistance in trying her. That is a matter that's not my decision to make, but certainly we would hope and certainly we would make a call to India as a democratic state that they respect the rule of law and they respect a lawful and proper request for her extradition when an extradition request is made.